Okay, guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to read from this book, the book that I was supposed to read. Well, I did read it, but I lost the footage, so I have to redo it. It's called December Secrets by Patricia Rayleigh Giff. I hope I said that name right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Now, let's get into chapter 1. Emily Arrow bit down on her pencil. Then she started to write. The firefighter is your friend. He puts out fires. He comes to school. He takes you for a ride in his truck. Something didn't look right. Emily raised her hand. How do you spell truck? She asked Miss Rooney. Good question, Emily, said Miss Rooney. She wrote truck on the blackboard. The fire truck is in the schoolyard, Emily whispered to her friend Richard Best. I can hear the sirens, Beast. Me too, Beast said. He was drawing a big red fire truck. Right then, the firefighter was giving another class a ride. One of the kids would be sitting up in the front with the firefighter. Emily thought he'd be wearing the big black fire hat. He'd be ringing the siren. Miss Rooney's class would be next. Emily hoped she'd be in the front wearing the big hat, ringing the siren. She was wearing her almost new pink sweatsuit. It had dark blue polka dots and a little green stain on one knee. She hoped no one would see the green stain when they walked out to the fire truck. She was going to keep her knees together. She looked around. Don Bosco was wearing a brand new sweatsuit. It had a big D on the shirt. D for Don. It should be L for lucky, Emily thought. Don Bosco always had the best stuff. Even her middle name, Tiffany, was great. Her almost middle name. Don's real middle name began with an M, but she'd never tell what it was. Emily hoped it was something horrible. It's snowing out, shouted Beast. Everyone ran to the window. Simon looked as if she was. Jill Simon looked as if she were going to cry. Jill always looked as if she were going to cry. Maybe we can't go out to the fire truck now, she said. Shh, Emily said. Don't give Miss Rooney any ideas. Jill shook her head. She rubbed her eyes. Emily looked at her for a minute. Everything about Jill was fat. She had 4 fat braids, 2 in front, 2 in back. She was wearing 4 yellow loopy ribbons on her braids. They made her head look like a round yellow sun. But her face didn't look like the sun. Emily thought her face looked like a big fat rain cloud. Time to go outside, Miss Rooney said. Bundle up, it's cold out there. Emily bundled up. She wished she had a long jacket, long enough to cover the green stain on her knee. She took her white rubber unicorn out of her desk. She tucked him in her pocket. She raced she raced to get near the front of the line. She made sure she ran with her knees bent. It made her jacket look longer. She hoped the firefighter would see her up in the front. She hoped he'd ask her to sit in the seat with him and wear the fire hat. Don Bosco tapped her in the arm. Can I get ahead of you, Emily? She asked. The line started down the hall. Emily made believe she hadn't heard Don. She hurried as fast as she could with her knees bent. In back of her, everyone was bunching up. Everyone wanted to get near the front. Can I? Dawn started to ask again. Outside, Miss Rooney clapped her hands. We're not going to a fire, she said. The firefighter laughed. She was a woman. She helped Beast and Matthew Jackson climbed up on the side of the truck. Emily was next. Don quickly moved in front of Emily. Hey, Emily said, but the firefighter put Don up in the side of the truck. You're next, she said to Emily. Can I sit in the front? She asked. Why not? She said. She let Emily climb up into the front seat. Jill Simmons started to cry. What's the matter? The firefighter asked. I wanted to sit in the front, Jill said. Big baby. Emily wanted to say, plenty of room, the firefighter said. Move over a little, she told Emily. This is the picture they have in there. Emily moved over an inch. Jill squeezed in next to her. Can I wear the hat too? She asked the firefighter. Hey, Emily said. The firefighter put the big black hat on Jill. She swung into the seat. Emily looked at Jill. Jill looked big and fat with the hat on her head. She looked silly with all those yellow ribbons hanging out under the hat. Emily looked down. She could see the stain on her knee. It looked very green. She sighed. She'd have to wait a whole year before the fire truck came back to the Polk Street School. She'd have to wait another year for a chance at the fire hat. That was chapter 1. Now we're going to do number 2 just to catch up for the days till Christmas. Chapter 2. That was really exciting, Miss Rooney said when they were back in the classroom. Everyone's cheeks are red. Emily's hands still felt cold. She blew on them a little. It's the first day of December, Miss Rooney said. She looked at the class. Does anyone know what happens in December? Noah Green raised his hand. It's Hanukkah, right? said Miss Rooney. It's She drew a candle holder on the board. It had one big candle in the middle and 4 smaller ones on each side. This is a special sign for Hanukkah, Miss Rooney said. It's called a menorah. Matthew raised his hand. It's Christmas time, too. Miss Rooney nodded. She drew a green wreath. And this is the picture they have on the board. And this is a special sign for Christmas. Emily wished she knew something that happened in December. Beast raised his hand. One of our presidents had a birthday in December, he said. Very good, Miss Rooney, said Miss Rooney. Woodrow Wilson was born in December. He was 28. He was our 28th president. She drew a flag on the blackboard. President Andrew Johnson was born in December too. Emily looked at Richard. She wondered how he knew about the president's birthdays. Miss Rooney asked Richard, how did you know? Beast laughed. I didn't. I just took a guess. Emily tried to think of something to guess. I'll tell you something, Miss Rooney said. It's the month that someone patented chewing gum. She drew a square piece of pink chewing gum on the board. Emily put her hand up in the air. At least she could ask what patent meant. It sounded like shiny shoes. Miss Rooney smiled at Emily. Patent, she said. When you invent something, you tell the government. Then no one else can say they invented it first. Miss Rooney looked at the big clock on the wall. It's almost time for art, she said, so I'll have to tell you this quickly. She drew a line under the menorah and the wreath. This is the time for giving, she said. It's a special time for making other people happy, and that's what we'll do in this classroom. Presidents asked Matthew. Yes, Miss Rooney said, but we'll do it. It's a special time for making other people happy, and that's what we'll do in this classroom. Presidents, said Matthew. Yes, Miss Rooney said, but we'll do it in a special way. Everyone will pick one person in the classroom. He will be your secret friend, and all through December, you can do special things for that person. You can draw pictures for him. Timothy Barberio said, "You can hide candy in his desk." "Nice," said Miss Rooney. Dawn put her hand up. "You can pick up her book if she drops it. That's the spirit, Dawn." Miss Rooney said. Emily tried to think of something to say so that Miss Rooney would say, "That's the spirit," to her, too. She raised her hand. "Yes, Emily?" Emily couldn't think of one thing to say. "I forgot," she said. Miss Rooney, thinking of someone to pick, Miss Rooney asked, "Don't tell that person. Tell me." Timothy raised his hand. "You mean that person will never know?" he asked. "I have to give him stuff, and he won't even know it's me?" "Oh, yes, Miss Rooney," said Miss Rooney. Everyone will tell his secret friend on the last day of school before the winter vacation." She held up her hand, but it didn't have to cost money. But it doesn't have to cost money. Do nice things for your secret person. Miss Rooney looked at the clock again. "One more thing," she said. "Tomorrow bring a box. Bring a cigar box. Or maybe a writing paper box. We're going to do something exciting with it." Miss Rooney smiled. "Time for art now." The class lined up. Emily looked around at everyone. Beast was at the end of the line. His head was way back. His pink eraser was sitting on top of his nose. Beast was a very funny boy. She'd picked Beast for her special person. She tried to think of ways to make him happy. Beast loved to draw. Emily had an almost new box of crayons. All of the points were sharp, except for the red crayon. That's because red was her favorite. It was also because she had drawn lots of red turkeys last month. She'd given Beast a box of almost new crayons, all of them except for the red one. The class marched into the art room. Emily took her seat. Maybe Beast wouldn't see that the red crayon was missing. "Guess what month this is?" asked Miss Kara. "December," everyone yelled. "Very good," said Miss Kara. She passed out drawing paper. "How about drawing some December things?" Emily took her crayon box out of her art cubby. She pulled out a yellow crayon. She'd make a big candle holder like the one Miss Rooney had drawn. Matthew poked her in the back. "Can I borrow a green crayon?" he asked. She passed it back to him. "Guess what?" he said. "I'm going to pick Beast for my secret person." Emily frowned. "He's my best friend," Matthew said. "He invited me to his Thanksgiving sleepover last week. It was the best party in the world." "Oh," Emily said. She drew 9 sticks for candles. She put big orange flames on them. She tried to think of someone else to pick for that special person. Dawn Bosco leaned over. She looked at Emily's picture. "That's very nice, Emily," she said. Emily smiled at her. Maybe she should pick Dawn. Emily looked at Dawn's picture. Dawn had drawn a picture of a girl. She had a great big pink chewing gum bubble coming out of her mouth. "I like your picture too," Emily said. Dawn smiled. She drew a pink sweatsuit on the girl. She put blue polka dots on the sweatsuit. "Hey, that's me," Emily said. Dawn picked up a green crayon. She drew a little green mark on the girl's pink sweatsuit. She drew it right on the knee. "How come you didn't let me get ahead of you in line?" she asked. Emily looked at the green mark. She didn't answer. Miss Kara clapped her hands. "Hold up your drawings," she told the class. She looked around. "Just lovely." Emily ducked her head. She hoped Miss Kara didn't know that Dawn's picture was supposed to be Emily. Emily certainly wouldn't pick Dawn for her secret person. She'd have to pick someone else. And we have come to the end of chapter 2. Tomorrow I will be reading 1 to 2 more chapters. Hopefully, you guys will continue to join me in this adventure of reading this young adult book. Hopefully, you guys like the story as well as I did. So, thank you guys for watching. Bye.